Hi, my name is Alexa Moffett. I'm a former elementary school teacher who currently works in youth services at a public library. I'm experienced working with children ages pre-K through 8th grade. Today I'm going to talk to you about using picture books as a teaching tool with your middle school and high school students. During this presentation, I will first talk about how picture book usage has shifted and changed over the years. Next, I'll discuss the benefits and value of using picture books with your older students. Then I'll share ways you can use them and logical ways you can begin integrating them into your curriculum. I'll give specific examples of books I've successfully used with older students and share ideas I have for ways you can continue to use them within different content areas. Last, I'll supply citations for the sources that I used, as well as links to interesting articles with further information about this topic. A relatively recent trend has emerged that children begin seeking out chapter books at an earlier age. The result is that as they pick up chapter books earlier, they're also pushing aside picture books earlier. As a result, picture books are being published less and read less, and students stop using them earlier than they did before. I would argue, however, that picture books are not only still valuable resources for our younger students, they continue to be significant and relevant as students enter middle school and high school. Picture books are more accessible to all students and an easy launching point for conversations about difficult topics. Most people have fond memories of reading picture books from their younger years. As educators, we can draw upon these fond memories and use them as a tool for student engagement. As one author I read recently said, picture books provide excellent opportunities to teach higher level skills while providing an engaging experience for older students. Now that we've established that picture books can be a powerful tool to use with all learners, I will delve into specific benefits. First, picture books are novel and engaging. When was the last time your middle school or high school student picked up a picture book? Was it this week, this month, or even this year? I would posit that the novelty of a picture book to an older student makes them more likely to pay attention and to engage with the material. In my past, I've read picture books to 7th graders who sat spellbound at my feet as I read, much like my former 1st graders did too, but then they engaged in advanced analysis of the subject matter afterwards. Accessibility. Picture books are accessible to a wider audience. Less words on a page plus pictures equal easier to understand. For your students who are not fluent English speakers yet or struggle with reading, this makes the topic more accessible by giving them visual and textual clues to work with. Picture books also have multiple means of engagement. With text and illustrations, this helps to validate different learning styles and provide more than one way to create meaning. Picture books invite students to pay close attention because not everything is said in the text and not everything in the text is shown in the picture. You must think about the words and examine the pictures to fully comprehend the story. This promotes deeper thinking because students need to use everything they see and hear to construct a picture in their mind. These benefits seem legit. Now what? Here are some ideas for how to begin using picture books with your older students. First, you can use them to introduce a unit. For example, if you're beginning to learn about the Manhattan Project during World War II, read The Secret Project. It makes information come to life in a more interesting manner and can be a launching point for discussion and study of World War II or America's nuclear program. You can also use picture books to make connections to your current curriculum. Since picture books are shorter, they allow you to make these connections relatively quickly. They often share common themes and ideas with longer, more complex books, so you can use them in conjunction with novels you read to drive home specific points. Picture books can also be used as a launching point for discussions about topics related to your curriculum. For example, use The Last Stop on Market Street to discuss diversity, or After the Fall, How Humpty Dumpty Got Back Up Again, to broach the topic of persevering through adversity. If you're going to study something in school, there's a good chance that there's a picture book that aligns with that topic. All right. At this point, you might be saying, "You convinced me. I'll start using picture books in my classroom." But you're not really sure where to start. The following are a few examples you can use within your own class. First up is Her Right Foot by Dave Eggers. The story focuses on the fact that the Statue of Liberty is stepping forward and the implication of that action. I would use this story in social studies class. In a letter at the beginning of the book, Dave Eggers says, "It's a baffling aspect of the American species that we periodically forget that almost all of us are immigrants. The symbol of this country is the Statue of Liberty, and the Statue of Liberty is not a symbol of xenophobia, fear, or isolationism." This book and that specific quote can be used to open conversations about race and immigration now or in America's past. This book is especially relevant given the current political climate in our country. Next up is One Word from Sophia by Jim Averbeck. I would use this book in a literature or English class. One Word from Sophia tells a story about a girl who uses various techniques to attempt to persuade her family to buy her a giraffe for her birthday. This book is a great example of rhetorical writing or persuasive writing, as she tries to sway her family to follow her ridiculous request. This book also introduces some advanced vocabulary, SAT vocabulary, like loquacious, verbose, and effusive, all words that describe someone who talks a lot. This is a good example of how a picture book doesn't necessarily mean that it's easier to read. Next up is Nelson Mandela by Kadir Nelson. I would use this book either in a world history class or also a literature class. For history, it could be used in its entirety to introduce Nelson Mandela as a historical figure during the apartheid era. Excerpts of this book could also be analyzed as part of a study of poetry, as the book is written in free verse. After that is Duel, Burr and Hamilton's Deadly War of Words by Dennis Fraden. This book delivers the story leading up to Hamilton and Burr's famous duel. I would use it in an American history course. The book delivers historical facts in a more novel and engaging manner than a history textbook would. Personally, I use this book paired with guided notes when teaching 7th grade American history. The students found it more interesting than a textbook, but they still learned the information that I needed them to. Next up is Punctuation Takes the Vacation by Robin Pulver. This story describes what happens, quite literally, after punctuation takes the vacation from a classroom. Writing stops making sense. I, of course, would use this in a writing class. This story could be best used maybe with older elementary school students or middle school students to drive home the importance of using proper punctuation and to illustrate what happens when punctuation is omitted or misused. Anytime I read this book, I think of the joke, "Let's eat, comma, grandma," and "Let's eat, grandma." In one case, you are inviting your grandmother to eat a meal with you, and in the other case, you're a cannibal. The last book I'm sharing with you is Sam and Dave Dig a Hole by Mac Barnett. I would use this in a high school literature class. Sam and Dave Dig a Hole is about two boys who are digging a hole in their backyard. Periodically, they stop for breaks before continuing on. For sure, they're going to discover something exciting while they dig. This book aligns well with themes in Of Mice and Men, so it could be used for compare and contrast purposes, or to highlight the themes in Of Mice and Men. That is it. If you have any questions about using picture books in your own class, feel free to contact me at akip3@illinois.edu. These are the resources that I used for my presentation. Of note, I found the school library journal articles extremely useful, so I would suggest checking those out. Thank you.